Illinois. A few things to talk about. Obviously, we had Ricky Thornton Jr. Running on-wing sprint car down at Western World, Central Arizona Speedway. Top 5 in it, in the dash, doing amazing things. That was something that was very interestingly special. But what do you expect? It's Ricky Thornton Jr. from that area, had already won a non-wing 360 race at that facility. And that was the weird thing, like when Ricky Thornton was doing the wing sprint car thing in, what was it, Lernerville for High Limit. I remember saying on my show, everybody was like, his first sprint car race. But this is the manipulation of media. His first sprint car race, and I was sitting there saying, well, he's already won a race. What are y'all talking about? He won a non-wing 360 event back in the day at Central Arizona Speedway. Have y'all not been paying attention? But it wasn't about that. It wasn't about the facts. It was about allure, intrigue to watch that race of Ricky Thornton Jr. at Lernerville in the wing sprint car. So I get it. You got to sell it somehow. Sell it somehow, which, man, that video talking about Casey Kane didn't know. Talk about disingenuous. Just stay in reality. Just stay in reality. For those who know what I mean by that, you know what I mean. But regardless, Ricky Thornton Jr., very interesting. And I was thinking about this. You know, I made a post about Ricky Thornton Jr. saying, you know, he is doing what the old Kinzers, Swindells, hell, Dave Blaney, Jack Hewitt did. You know, these guys jumped around. You know, Sammy Swindell, Steve Kinzer, Silver Crown races, midgets. You know, people always talk about Sammy only won 3 championships or whatever. It doesn't matter. He didn't necessarily, in that day and age, run a full-time World Outlaw schedule because there was other events, other classes, things to compete in that paid very well. Steve Kinzer, I believe, won a Silver Crown race as well, or jumped around non-wing. The World Outlaws was originally a winged and a non-winged series. They ran asphalt tracks. That's where Doug Wolfgang got hurt. I believe it was an asphalt facility, or burned, as everybody knows. So Ricky Thornton Jr. is doing that. So what's changed in the sprint car racing industry to keep that kind of outlaw mentality going, and why is it that late model drivers have the freedom to be able to do so? You know, it's very funny how people say, oh, well, late models can't be sprint cars because of there's just more of them, there's just this, there's just that. No, that's not the case, guys. The case is Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, Bobby Pierce, Devin Moran, Hudson O'Neill. These guys have recognized their damn value, and it began with Scott Bloomquist. Once again, that's the biggest advantage that the late model world has, is their icon wasn't some 14-year-old kid from California who raced sprint cars and USAC midgets well and went to NASCAR. And no, I'm not talking about Kyle Larson, I'm talking about Jeff Gordon. That was the sprint car open wheels icon in the pop culture era of the 90s. Whereas theirs was Scott Bloomquist. Scott Bloomquist and the names of that era back then, the Don O'Neills and all that, these people recognized their value. You know, they understood that if they didn't get what they wanted, the series were going to die. So the series altered what they did, their schedules, their payouts, everything to accompany the drivers. You know, and I feel like Kinzer, Swindell, Wolfgang, all them, they understand their value as well. And you see a late model driver, for instance, this is what I'm getting to here. A late model driver, due to this foundation set by them and the precedence of the drivers and the icon roles that they have in today's late model world, they're able to sit back and run 45 races and still race for a championship. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is they're able to run 45 races. Now, about what I mean by that is the World Outlaw Late Model Series and the Lucas Oil Late Model Series run about 45 races a year in their championship battle. That means they got, when you consider the sprint car racing schedule's about 90, they got 45 races available to race somewhere else. They are not the carnies, as much as y'all like to think, you know, that's normal in the sprint car world that's used to a 90 race full-time schedule, or even a 60 race full-time schedule like the High Limit. And once again, that's only because they don't have Knoxville Nationals, they don't have Houston's, they don't have Kings Royal Weekend, they don't have some of these big marquee events, so they take off those weekends. If they had them, they would have them too. The sprint car world's used to that circus act of a schedule. The 90 race schedule, this new thing that has been set and precedented. Probably because of the icon. I could go into the business subjects on how that affected the sport, but I don't want to embarrass the people who think they're doing the right things. So anyways, they are able to run for a championship on a 45 race schedule. Now, because of that, they're able to do other things. Yeah, the other 45 races or the open weekends in the late model world, they're more subjugated. They're more half and half. Whereas in the sprint car world right now, it's you know, High Limit with 60 and the Outlaws with 75 or 80. In the late model world, it's more so split down the middle. It's 45 and 45. It's not necessarily lopsided currently. So the drivers can live life. Now, yeah, they could do it, and a lot of the late model drivers do. They go to the other 45 events and race the other co-sanctioned or the other sanctions events that pay big money. But due to this structure, once again, the series are appeasing the drivers and the teams. Now, the teams are getting taken care of, obviously. The drivers are too. Why? Because these series have to pay $30,000. You don't really see a professional late model team drop the tailgate of their fucking trailer for less than $30,000, $30,000 or more. Really. I mean, yeah, there's some 25s, yeah, there's some 20s, there's some 15s and 10s, but most of their race weekends are 30 and up. A lot of them are 50 and up, and then you got a pretty good amount that are 75 and up. So this is what happens, though, when the mind operates normally. The mind operates in a structure that makes sense. But it ultimately starts with the drivers understanding their power and how much they actually change the situation. Now, once again, what do I mean by that? Well, the drivers ultimately are more important than the team owners. Let me say this. The drivers are more important than the team owners. Okay? More important than the team owners. The drivers, even though there's team owners and they're respected, I'm not saying y'all don't matter. I'm talking about importance here. The drivers are the ones that bring the fans. Does High Limit care more so? If High Limit, for instance, could take Todd Quiring as a car owner for the World Outlaws, but they couldn't take David Gravel, do you think they would care that much? Do you? Seriously, think about what we're saying here. It's the driver. It's the driver that matters. So due to their understanding in the late model world about this, the drivers converge. And you notice how when sprint car tracks have late model races, the drivers are a little more vocal and they bitch a lot and they complain about the track or this or that. Because they understand, they've learned, they know their value. They're not insecure little bitches. They know that their value is very, very high. They're not going to sit back and just be quiet and let the masters of the circus tell them what to do because that's, oh my God, I just have to be here. No. They understand their value. They understand they have a voice that matters because that voice ultimately is what pays the bills. That person, that David Gravel, that Rico Abram. Okay? So, to round this all up, it's very interesting that you had David Gravel and Rico, or David Gravel make a post shouting out Rico, saying, congratulations on your championship. Hopefully we can race together one day. And that's where I would conclude with this entire discussion. We see this split with High Limit and the World of Outlaws, and people are thinking, what are they going to do? Franchisees, this, that, and the other. I think we've already went past the first step of fixing the sprint car world, which is breaking the monopoly, and that is the stranglehold that the World Racing Group had on sprint car racing with the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series. That step has been completed. The step number 2 now is to even the playing field. And I think the only way you're going to even the playing field is with the players of the game. I think, unlike, because obviously it doesn't seem like Rico has commented on David's post yet, on his congratulation. But I think that David Gravel, Rico Abreu, Sheldon Hodenschild, Donnie Schatz, who carries a lot of weight. You think High Limit don't want Donnie? You are crazy. Donnie Schatz, people that matter, all of them. Brett Marks matters. Tanner Thorson matters. Dason Pursley matters. Let's just go down to Logan Schuhart, Billy Baylog, Adam, all the names that make the show go. No matter what side you're on. And y'all need to come out with a motherfucking drivers union today and take the power. We don't have to wait for High Limit or the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series to delegate a schedule. Hey, you full-time outlaw drivers and your damn crew members, do you enjoy being out on the damn road like a circus clown? Killing yourself week in and week out, do you? Do you?
Like 5 miles an hour.
You think that the series is gonna worry about that? You think the owners is gonna worry about that? No, it's time for you to take ownership of your value. It's time for you to level up. I think a drivers union is what's gonna make the World of Outlaws and High Limit Series delegate their schedule to a more 45-45 schedule. I think a drivers union is what's going to make these cars safer before you get your ass strapped in them and take off. I think a drivers union is what's going to raise the purses. And I think the drivers union is what's going to raise your respect. And at that point, give you something that you ain't had in a long time, and that's freedom. Freedom from the system that controls you and tells you where to be and tells you that you're expendable, don't they? Oh, Chaz, these drivers are a dime a dozen. Oh, really? Oh, well, if this guy don't want to do it, we'll find somebody else who does. Not anymore in the streaming world. Not out here in the racetracks where the money's made. It ain't that team owner, it ain't that series making that money anymore now that High Limit's degraded the World Outlaw stature. It's about them drivers, buddy. That's who's making your damn paychecks. And they have some power. Go ahead and try to throw another name into the 2-car and see what happens. We'll see if it's just as valuable as David Gravel. Once again, show your worth. Everybody, all the bosses and leaders of the world, not even leaders, all the bosses of the world try to talk to you like you're expendable, right? Call their bluffs. Call their bluffs. And at this point, all the drivers have idea, I'm just a driver, I just get to drive the car, I'm living my dream. They manipulate you, I'm living my dream, so they take advantage of that dream and exploit you in some degree, not all the way. I'm not saying everyone's negative or horrible here. There are some great car owners and both sides are doing some things right, but I think through my conversations with a bunch of drivers and people, there's a lot of things done wrong and a lot of things that could be improved for the driver and for the sport in its entirety. I think we need to get to a 45-45 race schedule so these drivers can have freedom while racing for a championship in addition to maybe getting David Gravel and some of these other stars into other cars so that they can get some fandom, some Larson-esque fandom, because right now Ricky Thornton Jr. is the one getting Larson-esque fandom. He's the closest one in the entire dirt world because he's showing his diversity. Well, you got people commenting saying no one's as diverse as Ricky Thornton in sprint car racing. What are you talking about? David Gravel went into a damn NASCAR truck during COVID, no practice, never been in the car before, and ran 10th at Michigan in a truck. David Gravel jumped in a damn Silver Crown car, once again, no practice, nothing, came from the back in his first race ever at the mile, and ran second to your boy lover, Kyle Larson. Rico Abreu is a Chili Bowl Midget Nationals fucking champion. These guys just are locked into a schedule throughout the year that gives them zero freedom. And if you ain't got freedom, you ain't really got a life. Who cares if that freedom happens or not? It sure ain't the team owners or the series people who run everything. High Limit may be close because they're people who run the shit are actually at the track. No, the people who pay the price in that system is the drivers and the crew chiefs and the people who make shit happen at the track as far as officiating. And if anybody out there in any of those segments don't want freedom, then okay. They probably convinced you that you're easily replaceable. Well, I'm telling you, as much as I look like a jack in a box right now on this air ride suspension of this John Deere tractor, I think a little more highly of you. I think a little more highly of you. So that's what I think the next step for sprint car racing to become bigger, for it to be greater for not only the sport, but for the drivers and the teams. A driver's union is what's needed. And that starts with guys like David Gravel, Rico Abreu, Brett Marks, Tanner Thorson's, Sheldon's, Geo's, Tyler Courtney's. That starts with y'all recognizing your value and working together for the people that matter. And y'all know who they are. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Thornton Jr. been talking about him since 2008, been racing, knowing him since 2004. I believe in other people out there, y'all can do the same. Logan Seavey, let's start going. What are you doing? You're behind. Come on, Logan. Even Chase Briscoe's in NASCAR looking half-ass decent. And Chase Briscoe's the greatest example of how any driver in dirt racing can win NASCAR Cup races and go to the Final Four, potentially a championship. Come on, Seavey. Get out of the non-wing car. Show some diver. No, I'm just playing. Seavey's amazing. Seavey's fucking amazing. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, what do y'all think? Comment below. Drivers Union, will it change the safety, the payouts, the schedules, all the things that matter in sprint car racing? Me personally, I think it will. Comment with what you think. Share the video, like the video. As always, be sure to subscribe or follow the Chaz here on TikTok or Facebook, wherever you're viewing that or viewing this. We're back on the bobblehead road. We will catch y'all next time. Gee, freaking Illinois roads! Fuck it! Illinois!